Hello folks, this is Sula here, and this is going to be a short video featuring my solo Warmaster character from Octopath Traveler. I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the solo Rune Lord when I put the video up about that a while back. This is a look at the endgame boss rush. These are all boss refights that take place at the very end of the game. And then ultimately the game's kind of final boss itself. That last battle is kind of an unwinnable battle, but we'll get to that in time. So I'm going to get set up here. The Warmaster, based on what I've seen, I do think is probably the strongest character overall in Octopath Traveler. Now, normally you can't play as a Warmaster from the beginning of the game because it's one of the secret jobs, but I was able to kind of debug in a way to play that. And then I did the whole game just with a solo Warmaster character, and I wrote about that on my website, which I will link below the video description for anyone who's curious. So one note that I'll make right away, as we're getting started here, is I am running this at double speed. You can't do that normally, but I'm running the emulator on a double speed here, so that's why everything looks a little bit faster. Alright, so there are 8 of these boss refights that take place at the end of the game. This is all in kind of an optional secret area. This is the only one that is dangerous for the Warmaster class. This is the fight against Darius, and he is dangerous because he will steal your items. He always starts the battle by stealing your items, so you have to break him to get those items back. You're also going to see me use the Warmaster's Divine Skill. You are going to be seeing that a lot in this video because it does by far the most damage. Every class has its own Divine Skill, and this is the Warmaster's one. Alright, so what I want to do here is I'm going to knock Darius down to 1 shield remaining because that will allow me to break him whenever I want. So note that he is down to just 1 shield remaining. He is really tricky for a lot of variant characters, like when I play as just one class the entire game. Very difficult for a lot of them because he's only breakable using daggers in this second form. Daggers and Wind Element are the only 2 that can break him here, and many characters just can't access daggers as a damage type, so it's very hard to break him, and you need to break him to get your items back, but you can't, a lot of characters don't have the tools to break him because they can't use items because they've been stolen away. So you can see it's kind of a catch-22. Here I'm holding off on breaking Darius. I had found out from previous tests that if I did a bit of damage to him here, that I'd be able to set him up to win the battle pretty easily afterwards. So I've just been hitting him with Chylin's Horn here a number of times to try and lower his health. And now finally I'm going to break him because I've hit him with a fair amount of damage. And then now he's set up for another use of the Warmaster's Divine Skill. So there's all those 99999 damage printouts that are always fun to see. That is the damage cap. You can't do more than that. So here I know that Darius is low. He doesn't have a whole lot of health left, so I'm going to use Pomegranate to get more boost points, which I guess technically I didn't need, and then one more use of Winnehild, and that's that. So that's why I needed to hit him a few times before I broke him that second time, so that move would actually finish him off. Darius is the only one of these like endgame boss refights that are actually dangerous for the Warmaster class, because he can pull out kind of a one-hit kill move, his Call Comrade ability. I set up the fight there, so we just never saw that fight at all. And here, I'm trying to remember which one of these bosses I want to hit next. The game does not tell you which one you face, but having gone through this area before, I have some familiarity with it. So I'm going to try to do Ulbricht's own boss refight, which is against Werner. And I have to set up his accessories. He needs protection against terror, and he needs protection against being stunned. So Conscious Stone and a Calming Stone. You also might notice that the sound dips out here. That's because I'm alt-tabbing into my spreadsheet that lists all the boss weaknesses to refresh my memory of what they are. So here we go. I had just looked up, and the weaknesses on Werner, let's see, he's weak to axes, he's weak to daggers, axes, and bows are his 3, but I wanted to look back and double check on that. Alright, so here, I want to use the Divine Skill here again, so I'm just going to wait until the debuff that was on Ulbricht wears off. He had his attack debuffed. Now that it's worn off, we'll use Winnehild again. I have not broken Werner here, so the damage is a little bit lower, but that's still pretty good damage. And now I'm going to do the same thing that you saw me do against against Darius before, which is hold off on breaking him. Werner gets a lot more dangerous when he falls below half health, so I'm going to hold off, not break him until he falls below half health. Then I will use Werner again. So I'm just showing off some different skills there. These are different skills that the Warmaster class has. This is, as I said, this is kind of a secret endgame class that you normally don't have access to, that I had used kind of a debug setup to be able to access from the beginning of the game. You could have it by this point, because this is extreme late game, but I had used it to access it from the beginning of the game. The big shtick here is it's kind of the supreme physical damaging class. It is the only class that has access to all 6 weapons types. That's swords, spears, daggers, axes, bows, and staffs. It has access to all of them from the beginning of the game. And so once again here, I'm just continuing to heal up as needed, waiting for the health on Werner here to drop below half, because he goes up to 3 actions and gets a lot more dangerous. So I'm just checking his health. You can always see in this game when the health goes below the halfway point, because their health bar turns yellow. And look, there it is. Now the health bar's gone below half. So I'll just go ahead and use Yatagarasu to break. It's a dagger attack. Now we use Winnehild, and there we go. There's the big damage printout. This won't kill Werner, but it'll knock him low enough that one more use of Winnehild will kill him. So all we need to do here is just get back extra health just for safety's sake. He'll hit me again, and you see he does the "you cannot hope to keep pace with me." He gains an extra action per turn, and he'll use more dangerous actions, but it turns out that's not going to matter because this Winnehild's just going to kill him right here. And so I work around the battle, avoid the more dangerous part of it by just double Winnehilding him, and that's enough to burst him down to dead. So pretty straightforward there. As I said, the only one of these battles that's genuinely dangerous is the first one against Darius, which is why I take him on first. I am doing the other 2 that are slightly dangerous against Werner and then against Simeon, but still not terribly dangerous. Here I'm going to equip an articulate stone because that stops you from getting silenced, and then a void amulet which blocks dark element damage. As it turns out, the 2 things this boss does is he silences you and he uses dark element damage, uses dark element spells like that one, like Silence Comes. Normally that would silence and do a lot of damage, but as it turns out it does neither because I'm sufficiently protected against both of them. And Simeon can buff himself up as much as he wants, but it's not really going to matter. I could, of course, just use a dagger auto attack here, but I'm using the ability. Oh, here I go ahead and use Winnehild just to get as much damage as I can. Once again, I don't want to break this opponent. I want to hold off on breaking him. And you're going to see how not dangerous this battle is because I'm willing to use things like Inspiriting Plums to recover spirit points, which are this game's version of magic points, as opposed to using the Refreshing Jams, which are the full health and full this game's version of mana refill. The ability you're seeing me use here, Guardian Lion Dog, this is a sword attack. It is not hitting one of the weaknesses on this boss, which is deliberate because I'm trying to avoid breaking him. So Guardian Lion Dog is useful because it hits somewhere between 5 and 10 times, and it does quite a lot of damage. Even with no boost points, I'm routinely getting like 5,000 or 6,000 damage if a bunch of those attacks hit. It is random how many hit. It's not related to your character's accuracy at all, but it will hit somewhere in the range of, I don't know, usually it's like about 4 to 6 hits actually land, something like that. So, I mean, even though there's a lot of misses in there, if you add up those strikes, it does quite a bit. All right, so now Simeon has gone ahead and dropped below half health. We can tell because he goes up to 3 actions per round. So I'm going to go ahead and break him with Yatagarasu again, with that dagger's ability to hit the dagger's weakness. So now we'll use Winnehild for basically 60,000 damage. Each one of those hits gets capped at 9,999 damage, but still an awful lot of damage. And now he has attacks that are at least somewhat dangerous. So I'll go ahead and get my spirit points back, but I'm pretty sure he can't kill Ulbrich before this runs out. I'm just waiting for the boost meter to fill up. You need 3 boost points to be able to use your divine skill. You can only use at max points. And Simeon keeps trying to silence Ulbrich, but it's not going to work. So we'll just hit him again, and that's that. As I said, a pretty easy battle. And that is one of the more dangerous ones, but with the proper equipment blocking the status effects that he can deal, ultimately ends up not being very dangerous at all. So now I'm just going to go through from top left to bottom right and do the others. This will be Ophelia's boss, which is Mattias. For him, we want the Void Amulet to block against the Dark Element, and then also Tempest Amulet, which blocks against Wind Element damage. And that should pretty much block everything that Mattias can do. He has one ability that actually can do something, and here I am checking the boss's weaknesses again, which is why the music cuts out. So I will go ahead and use Tiger Rage to show that axe weakness. Now I'm going to use Guardian Lion Dog for the sword's weakness. And if you're wondering why I waited one round, is I wouldn't have been able to use Winnehild if I had broke the boss on the first turn, because I wouldn't have had enough boost points. So I hold off long enough for that to be the case. That Black Gale is a wind element damage, and it is blocked by virtue of the accessory that I'm using. Alright, so you're going to see Mattias bring in some more minions here. Not terribly dangerous. He will use an ability called Infernal Flame that blocks the ability to use magic spells, but it doesn't ultimately stop me from doing anything. I did actually make a tactical mistake there. I should have used a pomegranate earlier, so I could have just hit these two minions immediately with the Divine Skill. Instead, I had to wait one extra turn, and then they blinded me, and so I had to wait an extra turn. The blindness is kind of annoying because that does mean that Ulbricht's attacks have a chance to miss, so I don't want to use his Divine Skill, but while he's blinded. So here we go. Just, yep, poor minions. They just get blasted instantly, and they're off the map before they can do anything. Alright, so once again here, I'm just going to restore SP. Again, you can see how not dangerous the battle is by the fact that I'm sitting here using Inspiriting Plums. And then Mattias does the only thing that I have not protected him against, is what I think it's called Black Thunder, which is an ability that does lightning element damage, which I am not protected against, and stuns. Now the good news is he can't really hurt Ulbricht because all of his damage that's not that ability is blocked, but I did have to sit here tanking these attacks for a couple turns. Alright, enough of that. Time to use the Divine Skill again. Winnehild is ridiculously overpowered, and it just kills everything. It's the special Divine Skill for this class, and it's crazy good. 6 attacks, one with all 6 of the weapon types, for immensely high damage. In a lot of these battles, we're not even really seeing most of how high the damage can go because it just gets capped at the 9999 or whatever it is damage value. Can't go over 10,000 from one attack unless you have an ability that is not a passive skill that's not allowed on the Warmaster class. The Warrior class has an ability that allows you to go over the damage cap, but Ulbricht doesn't have that here because he's a Warmaster, not a Warrior, even though that's Ulbricht's default job. Okay, so this is Yvonne, who is Cyrus's boss. He appears with these 2 skeleton minions, but so much for the skeleton minions. This boss is really not hard at all. The only thing that it can do is it can silence you, but kind of bizarrely, this boss does not get more than 1 action per round, which is really weird. So we'll just, use the Divine Skill immediately, then break him again, then use the Divine Skill again, and just keep doing that because this guy really can't hurt Ulbricht. Like I said, since he only gets 1 attack per round, it's just not really that dangerous. So I was like, refreshing jam, I was like, well, wait a minute, no, this guy's not hurting me, so we'll just keep doing what we're doing here. Keep hitting this guy with the same attack over and over again. Should just need 1 more. That little effect there, Yvonne is losing control of his body, means that he is dropping below 50% health. And again, here I'm like, well, we'll just get some more boost points back, and let's hit him 1 more time. That should be enough to finish this guy off. So as I said, just not really a dangerous boss. I don't know. Never have found him to be very difficult with the solo characters I've played. So we'll finish that off, even get another revitalizing jam, which is very nice. I think I have about a dozen of them in stock, so it doesn't hurt to get more of them. Those are the items that restore not just your health and your spirit points, but also restore your boost meter to full as well. Next up will be one of Tressa's bosses. This is the Venomtooth Tiger. The big thing for this battle is just make sure to bring protection against poison, because as it says, the beast's fangs drip with lethal poison. It might not sound that bad, but poison's pretty annoying in this game. Poison will tick away 1/10 of your, not 1/10, 1/6 of your max HP each round. So for Ulbricht, that would be what, like 1,300 damage, 1,400 damage, something like that. So a lot of damage. And when this enemy drops below half health, the poison also ticks away your spirit points and your boost points, so it's pretty bad. Right here, I'm just letting the boost meter fill back up again. You're seeing me use a couple different abilities. Childen's Horn is the spear attack, Phoenix Storm is the bow attack. So here, I think I need to restore what is it? Some more spirit points. The Warmaster's abilities are all very intensive in terms of how much SP they cost. They eat up quite a bit. So here I'm actually going to auto attack because I want to break this enemy. You can invest boost points to get extra auto attacks, which is one of the reasons why this class is really nice. It is very easy to break opponents with this class between having access to all 6 weapon types and also being able to just use auto attacks for more shield breaking as needed. So there we go, Peerless Poison. The effects of poison extend to your boost points and your spirit points. So I'll just use another pomegranate to get more boost points. And are you getting tired of this attack by now? We've certainly seen it a whole lot. So I use it there, and then here I'll just defend to get up to the beginning of the next round. And then that allows me to get back to 3 boost points, so I can use Winnehild again. And goodbye, Venomtooth Tiger. Not too bad. So we're just blowing right through these battles. They really are not very difficult for old Olbrich here. As I said, the only one that's dangerous is the first one, Darius, because he has the insta one-hit kill. And the Warmaster class is just really, really strong. So the trick for this kind of secret area here at the end of the game is you have to do all of these areas. You have to do all 8 of these boss refights in succession. Like, there's no ability to use the save points or anything like that. So you just have to do them all one at a time in succession. Here we're going to be up against Alphen's boss. This is Miguel. Sorry, it took me a minute to remember his name. So he does not have any status ailments. He will debuff your physical attack and your physical defense. And there's really no way to avoid that. But this is one place. See the Twin Spears? It's debuffed for the next 6 rounds, and he'll just keep applying that. So as I said, there's really no way to avoid that. So one of the nice things about the Warmaster class is you do have one of the best passive skills in the game. Here we're going to see me trying to break through those shields. Fortunately, Miguel has a swords weakness, which makes it easy to break him with Guardian Lion Dog. But if you look at there in the top right-hand corner, you'll see that in addition to the debuff symbol that Olbrich has, like 7 turns, now 6 turns of the physical attack up, down, and physical defense down, there's a corresponding up arrows pointing in the other direction. And that's because Olbrich permanently is under physical defense up and physical attack up. It is the passive skill that comes from maxing out this class. It's called Physical Prowess, and you are just permanently have physical attack buffed and physical defense buffed. That means you do 50% more physical damage, and you do you take a third less physical damage. So it's 50% more damage dealt, a third less physical damage taken. By the way, Olbrich just dodges every single spear there. Pretty crazy. So the key to this battle for Miguel is you want to stack as much physical defense as possible. Miguel is all physical damage. So you want to stack his actual base damage is not that high, but he hits an awful lot. So you want to stack up as much physical defense as you can. And if you can do that, then his debuffs won't be quite as bad. Otherwise, you know the drill by now. We'll just keep hitting with Winnehild here. That's not to say that this foe is, trivial. You can see he is actually getting Olbrich pretty low, but having 8,000 health in reserve does make things pretty easy. Now, I probably don't have to use the Refreshing Jam here, because I'm very confident that one more use of the Divine Skill will finish this battle off, but why take the risk? I don't want to come back and have to do 15 more minutes of fighting these guys, so I just used the Refreshing Jam for safety's sake there, in case I was wrong on the damage calculation. And that'll be enough to finish him off as well. I have like 40 of these Refreshing Jams. It's not like I'm really worried about running out of them. And here I actually step away for a minute because I had to get up to take care of something in the house. So you're going to get 30 seconds of this screen here. And the Diary of Graham Crossford part the second. A word about this, this is where you kind of find out what's really going on behind the scenes in Octopath Traveler. There's more story information here. One of the complaints about this game was that all of the 8 stories are kind of completely separate from one another. But here in the extreme endgame, in this kind of secret area that most players probably won't even see, you find out that the 8 stories are in fact tied together, and that there's interconnections between all the 8 characters in a way that you don't get during the main story sequence. I've often complained that I think that this should be foregrounded more, not put behind a secret area that most players aren't even going to see. Because it makes it's pretty interesting how they all ultimately connect together. Alright, so we've just got one more yet to go. I'm going to go ahead and put on an Inferno Amulet, which blocks fire damage, because this next foe is Honet's Dragon, and the dragon will breathe fire. But otherwise, it's not that dangerous. It never gets more than 2 actions per round. And it basically just claws you and breathes fire. So we'll just go ahead, use pomegranate so we can use the Warmaster's Divine Skill and just make use of this. This is also convenient because we get to see all of the weaknesses on this boss. It's swords, axes, and bows, although a bunch of them are blocked out here at the beginning of the fight. It will randomly lock and unlock those abilities as the fight goes on. By the way, the Dragonfire animation looks really cool, but we're going to go ahead and see it in action there. And here you're going to see me use one auto attack and one Tiger Rage. Now you might say, well, why not just use 2 Tiger Rages? If I do that, I won't have enough Spirit Points available to use the Divine Skill, because the Divine Skill costs 50 Spirit Points, and the other skills cost 35. So note I'm only at 12. I wouldn't have had enough ability points or enough Spirit Points to use that if I had not tossed in one auto attack in there. So I've actually done that before, run myself out of Spirit Points by accident, because these abilities were just cost too much. And now the sword's weakness is unlocked, so we'll go ahead and use Guardian Lion Dog to just break through the boss, and then you know what'll be coming after that, another Win a Hill for another 60,000-ish damage. And that'll cut through this boss's health bar pretty fast. I think it's right around 160,000 health, something like that, but it goes down pretty fast to that stack damage. Maybe it's less than that. I think the dragon is on the lower end of the health on these boss fights. Most of them are around 180,000. Something like that. All right, and now we go ahead and unlock the final battle against Galdera, who's this game's like super endgame secret boss. So let's go ahead and grab protection against the things that he can do. So an antidote stone to protect against poison, and a bright stone to protect against being blinded. I had tried this battle a couple times. One reason why I don't like doing this battle is because every time you want to try it, you have to fight the 8 previous bosses, and it's pretty time-consuming to get here. But one of the things that I had figured out, by the way, form 2 parties. Yep, look at my level 1 characters, because this is a solo. This has been a solo game, just using Ulbrich. One of the things I had figured out was that I really needed to protect against both poison and blindness. The poison is needed because the boss will use the same Peerless Poison that the Venomtooth Tiger does. And there's just not enough time to use rounds clearing poison. Like, you're going to see this battle, basically I have to either use a full health restoration item or an attack on every single round. There's just no time to spend curing poison. And the blindness status was the same thing. I just didn't have time to spend rounds clearing the blindness status. I had to be either attacking or alternately healing on basically every single round, as you get this little dialogue here. So that's why I had to get protection against those 2 statuses. Even though it does mean that Ulbrich doesn't get any additional health, I really wish I could get him the accessory for plus 1,000 health, just because 8,000 health is a lot safer than 7,000 health. I am taking advantage of the fact that Ulbrich and the Warmaster both have extremely high health as far as their jobs go. Pretty much every other character would have less health. In fact, a lot of the characters would be down. I think that poor Cyrus was at 4,000 health at this same point in time, because the Scholar and Cyrus innately both have very low max health. So you can imagine trying to do one of these fights with 4,000 health instead of 7,000. It's just not doable. All right, so this is Galdera. You're going to see it has a main eye, and then it has multiple fallen souls that it summons throughout the battle. It also has a lot of heavy damaging abilities. You're going to see me get knocked down very low there, so we're going to have to use a lot of refreshing jams and revitalizing jams here in this fight. By the way, that attack, I believe that Strike of the Dead could inflict darkness, but we're blocked against that. Now, at the very start of the battle, there's only 1 soul unlocked, and it can only be damaged by light element damage, so I'm going to have to use these light soul stones, because I can't do anything in the battle until I can break through there. And once again, I'm getting kind of low here, so you're going to have to see me using more healing items. But this is allowing the boost meter to fill up, so that's not too bad. So now we can finally break this soul down there. And after this initial break, I don't have to worry about using light element again, which is nice. But I still can't hit the central eye until this soul is dead. So, yep, all the zeros on the main eye, but now the eye is unprotected. Of course, that means we're now going to have more souls to deal with, so I have to go with that. And here, you see me use the refreshing jam. I'm nowhere close to being out of health, but I want to use Win a Hill on this next turn. And if I don't heal on the previous turn, I won't have enough health left in order to do that. So now we're going to have to deal with those other 2 fallen souls. There is the Peerless Poison, and if I didn't have poison protection, that would pretty much be it. Yeah, you're seeing all these. You're seeing the party's status enhancements are nullified, but fortunately that doesn't matter because Ulbrich's passive can't be nullified. And there you're going to see my first use of a Revitalizing Jam, which just restores everything. So here we go, another use of Winnehilde. This should break the two souls, which means you might have noticed that there were like a whole bunch of attacks queued up to hit me, but those attacks don't go off because I break those two eyes, and thus I'm able to survive that sequence. Otherwise I would have been dead, but fortunately able to kill off those eyes. Alright, so now we'll use another Winnehilde, and as you can see, this is pretty much my only source of damage because there's just not time to use anything else in this battle because it's so much damage coming my way. I should mention that central eye, the one that you see right now, it has the most health of anything in this game. It has 500,000 health. And no, I'm not joking, 500,000 health. Plus, it's actually locked out from being damaged most of the time throughout this battle. So yeah, not the easiest one to deal with. There I figured that I had enough time that I could go ahead and just use the Pomegranate. Pomegranate plus Refreshing Jam, not use one of my limited number of Revitalizing Jams. So here, let's see, I go ahead and I think I end up boosting here just because I'm guaranteed to act first next round, and that'll let me use Winnehilde while the boss is broken. So it does more damage that way, as opposed to using it against an unbroken target. Alright, so now the souls are back again, and now I believe I'm back to being in a situation where I can't damage the central eye until the 3 souls are dead. So unfortunately here I don't have enough boost points available to use Winnehilde, so I just end up defending for a turn. And now I'm going to go ahead and use that, and I'm hoping I can kill some of the souls, because otherwise they're going to get a lot of attacks off. Yeah, and so it goes down to just 1. Unfortunately, the boss used one of its more dangerous abilities, which is debuffing Ulbricht's Elemental Defense. That'll cause all elemental abilities to do more damage against him. So we're Revitalizing Jam up once again, and we're going to try to break these souls. Hopefully I can kill them both off. Alright, so there we go. And so now the eye is unprotected. But it once again immediately resummons another soul. And it keeps doing this, keeps resummoning these souls repeatedly. Which is not ideal. So you can see why it's so important that Winnehilde hits everything on the screen. If it didn't do that, then there would just be no way to do this battle. Most solo classes would have absolutely no way of doing this battle. It's only because the Warmaster class is so absurdly strong that I'm able to do this. So you can see it just keeps resummoning those souls, but as long as all 3 are not up, I can damage the central eye. It's only when all 3 of them are up at the same time, I believe, that... actually, no, it looks like I was still able to damage the central eye here. I think there's at some point in the fight where I'm not able to. But you get the idea, it just keeps on resummoning these. And I respond by just blasting them away again and again and again with Winnehilde. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to deal with this. Alright, so here we have enough boost points to use it again. So I will break it halfway through the attacks. And this is one of the rare places where the attack order does matter. If you're curious, the attacks that go off from Winnehilde do have a set order. It always goes sword, then bow, then I believe it's sword, bow, dagger, axe, staff, and then spear is always last. So it does matter if in a situation like that. Okay, so now you see that the eye has once again locked out all its weaknesses. So I believe we're back to a point in time where I have to kill off the various little souls, or else I won't be able to damage the eye again. First, of course, I need to heal before anything else. Oh, no, never mind. I did use Winnehilde here. I thought I healed, but apparently not. So I am able to knock it down to just 1 soul remaining. And once again, I'm just mostly doing the same thing over and over again. The screaming energies are about to burst. Let's see, and so I get the big damage there for 4,000. The good news is I can heal on the next turn, so we can Winnehilde on this turn. But note that I'm back to doing 0 damage against the eye again. So I need to kill off, apparently I need to kill off all of the various parts, or else I can't damage the eye. And it kind of changes throughout the battle how that works. Because at some points in time I was able to damage it with a couple of them alive, and at other points in time I wasn't able to. So I'm eventually going to realize that I have to finish off all of the souls at the same time, but for a minute or so here, I just keep pummeling them, and we just kind of go in a cycle for a little while here. Like, I don't kill off all of them at the same time, and then they come back to life, and then the cycle just repeats. But it took me a couple minutes to figure out that that was what was going on here. By the way, awful nice that Ulbricht was able to dodge that I should mention that he has an awful lot of physical evade, and I've tried to stack him with a whole bunch of physical evasion for exactly that reason, so he can dodge a good number of the physical attacks. Now, you can't evade magic attacks, or elemental attacks, I think they're officially called. Can't evade them, but he has pretty good odds to dodge physical attacks. I think here I'm going to just heal up again, and there we go. But you can see another new soul appears, and at this point I'm like, you know, I think I'm just kind of going in circles here, because these souls just keep exploding and coming back to life. And, you know, I can't seem to kill these souls all the way from down to 0. Like, I can get them low if I use the ultimate. They get knocked down low on health, but they don't ultimately die in one hit. And, like, that's kind of the problem right here, that they do not get one-shotted by this ability. And then that gives the central eye time to revive more of them. So, at this point, I think this is right around the point in time where I was like, you know what, I'm just going in circles here. This is not, you know, we're not going anywhere. I'm not dying, but I'm not ultimately making any progress here either. So what I need to do is I need to kill all of them at the same time in order to break through the boss's shielding. I mean, it's not helping that some of them are self-destructing either. But as I said, we could just go in this circle forever. Well, not forever, because I'm slowly running out of healing items. But sooner or later, I'm going to realize that I need to just target one of these souls individually, because otherwise we'll just be here forever. Sorry I can't fast forward here. I guess I could technically do that by editing the video footage. But anyway, we'll go ahead and just continue surviving. As I said, the battle's difficult because there's just so much damage coming Ulbricht's way, and not really enough chances to heal. Certainly not enough time to clear status ailments while the battle's going on, which is why I had to get that status protection. Alright, so a number of these abilities set up attacks to damage you on the next turn. That draining of SP doesn't do anything, though. That's one of the least dangerous abilities. Alright, so once again, let's heal up here. There's the delayed incantation. Fortunately, Ulbricht is good at dodging a bunch of these, but yeah, the 4,000 damage is like, that's a lot of health. So it's a good thing Ulbricht dodges so many of those attacks there. Anyway, so I will go ahead and heal, and then now you're going to see me use, I'm trying to see, I was like, alright, so the one on the top right is full health, the other ones are not. So I go ahead and use Guardian Lion Dog, and then I forget, I was like, oh wait, I don't target where Guardian Lion Dog goes. So I need to use an ability just on the one in the top right, so that I can lower that one's health a bit and then blow away all three of them simultaneously. But the one in the top right is the one I need to focus on. So this is still a dangerous moment in the battle because all of the various, all three of the souls are up, and Ulbricht's elemental defense has been debuffed. So he really needs to dodge some of these physical attacks, and fortunately he's doing a pretty good job of doing that. Alright, so let's go ahead and fall back on good old Chyland's Horn, and we'll use that on the top right soul, and I'm just going to hit it a couple times. It does keep shifting weaknesses after each hit, but all the weaknesses are elemental in nature right now, so Ulbricht, who's a purely physical character, can't even do anything to them. So I'm just continuing to heal up, and hoping he continues to dodge these, as apparently the enemies are too slow. I actually play the game most of the time with the sound off, so I don't hear these sound effects that often. Alright, so once again, continue hitting that. So with the... What did I do? About 16,000 damage, something like that. That should probably now be enough so that if I use Winnehild, it should probably be able to finish everything off. Good news that Ulbricht did dodge a number of attacks there that might have been strong enough to kill him. So we got past that point in time where his elemental defense was debuffed. And now that I've done some damage to that soul in the top right, this should be enough to finish them all off simultaneously. Aha! Now we've finally broken the cycle of getting stuck here over and over and over again. So I will go ahead and use an Energizing Pomegranate to get up to full boost points. Although I'm probably going to have to heal here because those electrocutes do a lot. It would be nice if I could equip an accessory that blocks lightning element damage, but there's just no opportunity to do that. No opportunity to do that whatsoever. So now we can heal up. I was free to use Winnehild there because I was guaranteed to act first next turn. Alright, so now we've gotten the central eye under half health. You can see that the health bar has turned yellow, and now it puts a ticking death clock over Ulbricht's head. You can see the 4 turns. He will die at the end of the 4 turns if he can't kill all 3 of the fallen souls. So this is another reason why I needed the status protection against blindness. On previous attempts when I tried this, he did not have that status protection against blindness, and so he would have to spend a round like curing the blindness, and there wasn't enough time to kill the souls before he died. So like similarly here, I'm just going to try to kill the souls. I know that Ulbricht's low on health, but he needs to finish them off right here so that he doesn't die to that ticking death clock. I get stuck here. I can't use Winnehild because even though the boss is broken, which is a little bit sad, but I just have to use this opportunity to heal up. And let's see here. We'll just use Winnehild again. This will drain everything, but then I can use the Revitalizing Jam on the next turn, and we're just trying to load as much damage onto this boss as possible. Oh, I didn't use the... I should have probably used the Revitalizing Jam there. So Ulbricht just tanks a couple hits, and I end up having to use it anyway to get those boost points back. So once again, you see the curse, and Ulbricht's only got 3 turns to break these guys, so it's a good thing that he was already set up to use Winnehild here, because he's going to have to use it on this turn, and then spend another turn healing here, and then with 1 turn left he can, or I guess I just get back some boost points because he hadn't taken any damage. But the good news is, like, he has 1 turn left, 1, and he has to use Winnehild here, or else he's going to die. I actually screenshot that, because it was kind of a dramatic moment in the battle, but he is able to break his opponent, and so he does not insta-die here. And we've actually got the boss down to less than 1/4 health, so we've done 400,000 damage to this boss. So the unfortunate thing is it's going to use Consume Soul, and I was like, oh, this is new. I haven't made it this far in the battle. Well, we use Winnehild, but as it turns out, when it uses Consume Soul, the Central Eye uses a Petrification attack next, and that's it. Ulbricht's dead. So sadly, there is not a way to win this fight. Not with a solo character. There is no way to dodge that. So yeah, unfortunate. But this is a 2-part battle, and you can't win a 2-phase battle with a solo character anyway. So I hope you enjoyed this. Hope this was fun. And we'll cut it off here. So thanks again for watching. See you guys soon.